Hello and welcome to the penultimate stream on House of the Dragon Season 2. So far, kind of a mixed bag of a season, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight. We'll have some time to discuss the various takes. But let's kind of start things off with Mr. Wasia.
Done. Why the fuck did you put spoilers for my book on screen?
I'm prescient and I like showing it off.
This is true. But yes, that was a very cool sequence.
Agreed. Yeah. And let's bring in Mr. Biller.
Oh yes.
There are so many memes we could make out of that clip right there.
The clip is itself a meme. But speaking of dragons, I have two thoughts about Vermi. One is, he's kind of a jerk. I mean, you can reject people's resumes without bringing them alive and eating them, you know. I've done it myself. So that's my first thought about him. And my second thought is, wouldn't it be a ride if he started singing, "Take a Chance on Me"?
I love you, Valerian. Never change.
You're the first in line.
Honest to God, that whole sequence, I looked at it and I was just thinking, what the fuck is going on? Show, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? This is stupid. You know it's stupid. All of it is stupid.
Well, it is weird because I had the feeling from the books that in the book it was something more ad hoc, a little more informal, and also outside. They didn't like herd them into this cave and say, "Hey, just line up and see what happens." What mood is Vermi in today? Well, he's usually in a bad mood, so, or maybe he's in a good mood. He just like, "Oh, dinner came early today."
Look, all I'm saying is that the Targaryens, they really know how to clean up that bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
What bastard Targaryens? Those don't exist.
Not anymore, anyway.
Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, man. It's like, just imagine being one of those regular people just coming in over here and seeing that big old Oh yeah, the best part about all this, I love that we're immediately jumping to the end of the fucking episode and not talking about anything that came before it, because nothing happened in this episode except for this.
Well, so we did get some decent scenes in Harrenhal.
Oh yeah, more Harrenhal shit. Yeah, I like how this just shows me. I just love the message that whole sequence showed, or just gave us. The message that all those lords over there should be getting is that none of you can fucking trust Damien. Damien. I said Daemon. You cannot trust Daemon Targaryen because
you watched the Omen recently or something.
God damn it, Dunn. Because the second you become inconvenient to him, he will throw you under the bus so quickly that your skin will peel off before you get underneath the tires.
Yeah, well, I do like Oscar Tully anyway.
He's a neat character. I like Oscar Tully.
I mean, he's a good politician too. He's like, well, we've promised to side with Rhaenyra, so we have to do it, despite the fact that this chap who represents her is a scumrot.
Yeah, like I
yeah.
have to appreciate the balls on that kid right there to insult Daemon to his face like that.
Yeah,
just straight up talking shit on him. He's like, yeah, he's a piece of garbage. Like that's it. Nothing more to really discuss over here. He's just a piece of shit. But at the same time, we promised his wife that we'd support her. So
we're gonna. So it's a nice way of having one's cake and eating it too, or playing both sides of the question.
Yep.
Yeah. So I do. The only thing, the Harrenhal would not have been so bad if they just left out most of the stuff in episode 5. Yeah, because that was the only really bad. Even in episode 5, there was a decent bit where the people are coming up to Daemon and saying, "We're not going to support the tyrant," kind of thing. So that was decent. Although I wasn't sure at the time whether it was really happening or not, because I was getting really confused what's real and what isn't. But that was a good scene. But everything else in episode 5, they could have just lopped it off and had episode 6 and episode 5.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that the stuff in like a lot of the stuff this season has kind of been stretched when it should have been more. I think it should have been pacier, not as much time wasting. Because if it was good character stuff, I wouldn't have as much of a problem. But a lot of stuff this season, especially Harrenhal, has been very time wasty, and is kind of built up to a sort of mediocre plot, and it's ultimately, if I'm not going to share the leaks, but people have been commenting about the leaked episode 8, and apparently there's some choices in that a lot of people hate.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Yep.
Let's fucking go.
Yep. I also know what's supposed to happen because I watched the Preston and what's his name, Red Team review on it. So I also know, but we probably shouldn't talk about it in detail until after it actually airs. Yeah. Is my thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely concur with that.
But
I think that's the most mad I have ever heard Preston get on any like a Song of Ice and Fire thing, and that includes season 8.
And Preston can get pretty angry.
Damn.
Yeah.
When he wants to.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'm interested, and apparently this isn't a leaked script. It's an actual leaked episode. So I'm inclined to believe it to a certain extent. Anyway, we'll move on and we'll talk about it. And we'll see if it's a Rise of Skywalker / Game of Thrones season 8 situation where both of them had leaked scripts, and the script leaks end up being, and the actual finished product ended up being worse than the leaks.
Yeah, I think it's actually aired. I think it's actually not script.
Oh,
It's actually is aired because they talked about there were like such and such number of minutes watching.
Visuals.
Yeah, there were
actual
visuals. They
It
were
wasn't
cool.
high quality, but sorry. Go
Yeah. No, just what
on.
you just said. It wasn't high quality.
Yeah.
Just what you said. Yeah.
So there's probably in terms of starting off, we've got a good scene between Rhaenyra and Adam of Hull.
Oh yeah.
And he's a good chap. I like him. And the actor seems like he is just the nicest guy ever. Like, he seems like he's super happy to be there. And is just kind of his all over his Instagram is taking pictures with other members of the cast.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems like a nice chap. He looks like a nice chap, and he sounds like a nice chap, and it doesn't exactly explain why he's so quick to kneel to Rhaenyra. But then why wouldn't he? You know, he's trying out for the civil service, so to speak.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And
so
it's interesting, the theory that like Sea Smoke and Cyrax are the ancestors of Daenerys' dragons. And I'm just like, no, I don't buy that. No. There's already an answer in Fire and Blood. Ryan Condal, you missed it. Please do your homework. If you're putting this in. There's already a reason why the dragon eggs are in Essos. They got stolen by a merchant by the female Christopher Columbus of Westeros. That's the reason why. Case closed. Goodbye. The end.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's definitely book canon. But who even knows if it's show canon or not? Yeah,
because they've deliberately contradicted the book stuff quite a few times, like Laenor, like the whole thing with Laenor not dying.
Right, that when Laenor didn't die because the guard was dead.
You mean the gal who committed suicide?
No, she died of exhaustion. Basically, what happened was she was just dying of complications, and she asked Daemon to carry her up to the Eyrie, and halfway up the stairs she died.
No.
Who did it?
Who was Laenor again?
Rhaenyra's husband. Valerian, you had a question or clarification?
Yeah, who are you talking about who died of exhaustion? Alyssa?
Lena Targaryen, Lena Valerian, Daemon's.
Right. Okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I was about to say the little girl from season 1, but I just remembered. Oh wait, that was the same season, which goes to show just exactly how much ground they covered in season 1, which is very, very impressive. You know, like, oh my god, look at how much stuff happened in season 1, and then we go over to season 2.
Yeah, it kind of went from breakneck pace, covering large swaths of time, to very much elongating events into almost soap opera style stuff.
As Crimson Scorpio once said, so far we have covered only 2 paragraphs in the book.
Yeah, I mean, I do like to get all the dialogue and stuff. And the two people in a room, like what's his name likes to say, Red Team Review. But yeah, it's.
No, you go. I'll go after you.
I was just going to say, people were worried it was going to be too rushed because they were shortening it to eight episodes, and Dragon Demand said no, they're actually splitting it up. They're actually drawing out over 2 seasons now. What was going to be season 2 is now going to be 2 and 3, and that does seem to be correct.
That sounds about right. it just kind of feels like a lot of this stuff has been stretched a little bit too long. Like the sowing, the dragon seeds, I think could have happened a lot sooner. We didn't need this much build up to it. I think that it's kind of an example of the build up was a little bit too long for the end payoff. If that makes sense.
I mean,
because it wasn't that impressive. It was very cool, but the problem was you could have shaved a lot of time off and just had it a lot sooner in the season, so that you could have had a little bit more time for plot progression. I think another thing was cut most of Harrenhal. If you cut most of Harrenhal, nothing is lost. At least I don't think that much of Harrenhal. There's some important stuff, but yeah. I think you could easily cut the weird thing with Alyssa.
Oh God, yes.
That could easily be cut and nothing would be lost. Since Targaryens, well, like, it's clearly Alice messing with him, but why would she mess with him like that? It would have made more sense if it was Emma Aaron, and you could have cast the same actress as a younger Emma Aaron. But
yeah, I guess I would say that the bit where Vermithor was burning people and eating them and stuff went on maybe a teeny tiny bit long, but then that's partly because I tend to be more interested in like conversations, interpersonal things than in action scenes. And maybe it went on a little bit longer than it needed to.
Yeah, I would say yes. And one kind of weird thing about this is that it was kind of more individualized in the book, where they just went out into the wilds to try and claim the dragon. It was almost like I think a Trey the Explainer described it as going out for trying to hunt down Pokemon. Was how it was described.
Yeah, they chose to make it very ritualistic, which is interesting.
Yeah. Honestly, that entire sequence where the freaking Rhaenyra trying to explain to them what's going on and all that shit, it kind of felt so insanely, I don't know, it was cringy.
Yeah, the idea that they put for it was that it was almost like a shepherd talking to her flock, or like a in a religious sense, it was almost like a religious thing.
Yeah, like the whole thing is just, I don't know, something about it tonally just didn't sit well with me. And I think hearing the behind the episode and hearing the writer's explanation for for how they view it, that stuck in my head. I was like, oh, now you too can ride a dragon and all that other great stuff. We're gonna democratize the dragons. You know, anyone can become a dragon. It was just like, huh? Why?
Yeah, I guess that is part of the theme of it, that commoners are now going to start riding dragons, and I guess that's Rhaenyra's desperate ploy. It is interesting how it relates to the whole issue of the class, which is an important part of the story.
Yeah,
It's interesting, which is also why Jace kind of throws a fit later.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, well, what does Jace have to legitimize himself? Well, we all know that he looks like his dad, who was never married to Rhaenyra, So that's basically a big red flag that he is not legitimate. Rhaenyra's husband never complained about it, so I guess that's gives some level of legitimacy. But he's also gone now. What else do we have? Well, he has a dragon. Oh wow! Only a true-blooded Targaryen can ride a dragon. But literally any bastard Targaryen could just pick up a dragon, and they don't even have to have the silver hair. Even.
Yep, that's
it means
one of the
nothing.
themes. Yep, it's one of the themes of the story.
Yeah, it's like. I actually agree with those dragon keepers over there. It's like, bro, this is what you're doing is kind of messed up and kind of fucked. It's we're not going to stand by and let you basically trivialize this thing. The dragons are the last remaining magic of old Valyria in this sad world. When they said that and then just left, I was like, God damn. So basically, this is going to be a horrible disaster, and Rhaenyra is not going to get her wish. That's what I was thinking. Because
it's very, very risky.
Yeah, because she's running straight against tradition over here, and it's like this sounds like a setup for seriously unforeseen consequences. And, well, lo and behold, there's a lot of unforeseen consequences.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to wonder what the results are going to be. I mean, on the one hand, yes, more people can ride drags, but what happens when you give a whole bunch of people nuclear weapons? But then is it better if you have only an aristocracy holding nuclear weapons? Does it become better if it becomes democratized or not? And is it not worth it? These are probably questions we're meant to be asking.
Yeah, because we all know, because the real reason behind it is not because Rhaenyra is doing this out of the goodness of her heart. She's doing this because she needs more people riding dragons, so that way she can beat her brothers. That's it. It's entirely a decision born out of desperation and pragmatism. It has absolutely nothing to do with being with any semblance of goodness. And the way that the show plays it off with her theme at the end of the sequence, and the way that she was just sort of looking down when Hugh finally tamed a dragon, is like, oh my god, look how magical and amazing this is. I'm like, Rhaenyra, 50 fucking people were just burned alive.
Yeah.
You just fed a bunch of people to Vermithor over here. It's like, well, why is she still watching this even?
Yeah.
She just sort of stands there and watches like a fucking psychopath as all these people are burned alive and eaten by this giant dragon, all in the name of her desire to beat her brothers. It's just a pure power grab. That's all this really is.
Yeah, we're supposed to.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we're supposed to ask these questions. That's what Ryan Condal said in the what was it? Not the inside the episode. Official podcast. That was.
Oh, the podcast. Okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to that. I probably need to. There's some times where I'm just like to the filmmaker, I'm like, please shut up. You're making your show worse by adding your own dumb interpretation.
Yeah, it can be annoying. Yeah, and they'll say, here's one of my pet peeves with these showrunners. They'll say, I think Rhaenyra was kind of like something, and like, why do you say I think? You wrote it. I mean, maybe you didn't write it, but you're the showrunner. Why do you not know? So for some reason that annoys me.
Yeah, and it's a weird holdover from Benioff and Weiss that No, I would not say that this is as bad as Season 8, because Season 8 systematically demolished and ruined everything. This is just something that's kind of dumb and a bit lackluster, which is an improvement. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, sorry, I was interrupting you, actually, but there's be nothing as bad as that, or even as bad as some things in Season 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that just... I think the overall like quality for the show is like an even 5 to 6 out of 10, because there haven't been as many great moments in this season as there were in Season 1, and there have been some really dumb stuff and protracted subplots and plot cul-de-sacs that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, luckily, I think this episode was probably one of the better ones.
Season 6. I don't know. Season 6 is pretty bad. We haven't gotten anything as stupid as Arya surviving stabbed to the gut and then swimming through septic water, or the Battle of the Bastards. Since the Battle of the Bastards is really stupid, there's some really bad tactics in that. And that's actually a really good question. How much of the bad quality can be attributed to the poor source material? That's a good question. I would say that you could feasibly make this a little bit more interesting than I think that the problem is they have stretched out the material a little bit more, because if they were just adapting the source material and just kind of put dialogue in, it would move a little bit more quickly. But a lot of the faults in the show don't really seem to be coming from the source material. They're kind of coming from weird choices to expand on the source material beyond what it should have been expanded upon. Expansion is fine, but it seems as though they've gotten to the point of bloat, as opposed to like breakneck, as opposed to something like Lord of the Rings, where they didn't add scenes into it for characterization, but this season feels a little bit bloated and stretched out at points, especially Harrenhal and the stuff with the dragon seeds. There's a lot of stuff stuffed together because there's not enough time. While also expanding stuff that shouldn't, while also filling time. Does that make sense? Like that sometimes, because it's just weird. It feels like it's too long and too short. Like other things should have been focused on more.
Raina, I'm looking at you.
I don't know. Really Raina's pointless in the dance. I
mean, that's the whole point. I mean, they have her. I mean, yeah, but they have her as a character. If you're going to have her as a character, then do things with her. If you're not going to, if you think viewer is pointless, then just cut her.
Well, she is pointless to the overall plot of the Dance of the Dragons. She can kind of be an observer, and I think it's kind of weird that Dragon Demands goes on and on about they need to have Jess Redmayne in there, and it's just like, Jess Redmayne is pointless. Why are you so passionate about her being effectively cut from this not in the show? Why are you so hype? Oh, why is this your problem with the show? It's just an odd problem to have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that Jane Eyre doesn't get to do much either.
Yeah.
It's part of the same problem. Like the whole Vale thing it's like maybe the whole thing. Does the whole thing maybe last 5 minutes? Maybe.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of
that's
the
a problem.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? You got a little bit muffled. I apologize.
No, not in the least. That's a bit of a problem. The whole veil thing. If you're going to put it in there, then develop it somewhat so that people will take an interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a bit of a problem. And I think here's the dilemma. They have to add stuff because the story is only an outline. So there needs to be a lot of added things so they can develop these characters as characters. And they do a reasonably good job of developing characters as characters. But here's the thing. It's kind of a pitfall because screenwriters, I don't want to diss them entirely, but they're generally not as talented as the author of the work that they're adapting. So if they try to come up with stuff, it can be hit or miss.
Yeah,
This is very true. Yeah.
and I think that teasing that they have merged Reyna and Nettles is a really stupid idea. Because not for the reasons that Preston Jacobs mentions, that Nettles is just kind of a random person who doesn't have Targaryen blood coming in and figuring out a way to tame the dragon, but because it is a plot point that she's illegitimate, and there needs to be specific character tension around her in order to facilitate a plot point like that happens in the story. And if they merge it with Reyna, they will have to fundamentally rewrite that whole sequence that happens. And they generally aren't good at doing that.
Yeah, they might end up just...
Wow. Imagine just, casually rewriting an entire sequence or an entire subplot by merging two characters together from something that someone else wrote. It's a bold strategy done. Let's see how it plays out for them.
Well, it's not even a subplot. It's a major plot.
Oh.
It's
okay.
It's the Nettles being illegitimate feeds into the first climax of the war.
Well, shit.
I'm not gonna spoil exactly what it is. There was kind of a Dragon Demances kind of was coping really hard by thinking, yeah, they have cast Nettles, and even saying this actress who is there is playing Nettles, and she actually messaged him on his quote on like his tweet and said, no, that I'm not Nettles, sorry. It's like, oh,
sorry,
dude. Yeah, but let's bring in Mr. Crimson Scorpio.
Coincidence? I think not.
That's a good one for
boy.
me. That's a good one for me. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Oh boy, we complaining.
We were complaining about everything.
Hell yeah.
Mike's was
weather, life,
major plot problems of merging Reyna and Nettles, if that is actually what they're going to be doing.
It's pretty silly. That's so good.
I will just say this: if they do merge Reyna and Nettles, then they really need to actually do some things with the character. I mean, as opposed to just having her turn up for a couple of minutes and be depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't kind of with Preston Jacobs, I don't have as much of a problem. Like, it seems like Preston Jacobs is weirdly anal about thinking that Nettles is really awesome when Nettles doesn't have a character. She
Nothing is in the dance is as awesome as Martin seems to think it is.
Well, it's just Preston Jacobs specifically loves Nettles more for the concept of Nettles, where she is this random girl, a random black girl that gets a dragon.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Is interesting in terms of its relation to the dragon lore and all that, and the class aspect. So, in that sense, it is interesting. But, I think that's his main reason for not wanting, because Reyna is an aristocrat. Valar Morghulis to you too.
That's fair.
Yep, indeed. Valar Morghulis.
Yeah, because Reyna is a high aristocrat, actually. Practically royalty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's literally a part of the royal family, so...
Yeah. So yeah. But I'd rather they merge Reyna with Nettles than merge Reyna with Nettles and have her do something than merge Reyna with Nettles and not have her do anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways this can go wrong. And unfortunately, I have a feeling it will go wrong.
Yeah, the hope is, at this point, it is either Reyna gets a dragon or Reyna dies. Those are the two options. Reyna dying technically doesn't throw off that much in the Regency, since her role in the Regency could be filled by someone else.
Damn. That's quite a horrible thing to say about a character. But, if that's how it is, that's how it is.
The only significant thing she does is present her cousin to the king, and her cousin becomes the queen.
It's one of the most tasteless things Martin ever wrote.
Yeah,
I'm starting to get the impression that George R.R. Martin is not nearly as great an author as people say he is.
The quality of Fire and Blood is very, very low. It is kind of a mediocre book.
Yeah, it's middling.
And is full of major contradictions. And you can kind of ascribe it to, it's the in-world narrator. But the problem is they're a little bit frequent to be an in-world narrator where they're basic continuity screw-ups. And I don't think George... I know that George is a smart man, but I don't think he is smart enough to actually, deliberately put in contradictions that point towards something. I think that people will engage apophenia in regards to this, to A Song of Ice and Fire at points, rather than admitting that it's a Doyle's mistake rather than a Watsonian mistake.
Yeah, there's been some development with Preston in respect to that. It used to be like, this thing in Song of Ice and Fire doesn't make any sense. It must be some kind of conspiracy or something. And now he's more likely to say, I think Graham probably just goofed up. That said, the quality of a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire is very, very high.
Well, Song of Ice and Fire is the series, the actual written book series, right? It's playing to Martin's strengths, which is character. and the third person narration of Fire and Blood just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people think that Martin. People have talked like you'll find some people who like go on about how great Martin's world building is, and it's kind of not. His strength is in his character writing.
Yeah.
And this is fundamentally plot and world building. Both things are not necessarily his strong points. He's good at playing, and he's not very good at writing to a controlled end point. Like with the Dance of the Dragons, he has to like write toward an ending. It's kind of a similar problem that George had with the prequels, though I think that Fire and Blood is a much better prequel than the Star Wars prequels, but that's not saying much because those movies are terrible.
And anybody who disagrees is free to stick it where the sun don't shine or come on in and debate us.
I mean,
you certainly will not. You will most certainly not end up making yourself into a lol cow.
Yeah, you can totally put it in the comments, like why the prequels are good movies. I will be happy to debate you, or better yet, just have you on stream because it would be very interesting. I honestly love how delusional prequel defenders can be.
I mean, I met you through Anomaly Inc.'s chat. That's where That's where I found you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't dislike Anomaly Inc. I just think he makes terrible arguments for the prequels. And if you want to have a more thorough debunking than what I'm prepared to give at this point, go watch the Uvu cast on Anomaly Inc. attempting to disprove Cosmonaut Variety Hour or JJ plagiarisms.
I mean, hold on. Cosmonaut Variety Hour is low-hanging fruit.
Well, the problem is, UvuCast actually proved that Anomaly Inc. failed to even meet the standard of Cosmonaut.
Fuck.
Make me sick.
Kidding? Cosmonaut is such a fucking lol cow, and yet somehow...
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because UvuCast says, like, yeah, Cosmonaut makes some bad arguments, but anomalies are worse.
God damn.
I mean, I can take up some arguments that I think that I've always found myself unconvinced by some. I think some of the criticisms of the prequels aren't quite on the mark.
There's some inaccurate ones. I will concur. I will agree with you. What are some examples?
Where do we begin with this? Anything that like harps on the special effects gets on my nerves, and I think this comes from my appreciation of. I think like I have no real patience for people. Like, don't get me wrong, there are bad special effects in plenty of movies, but like I think my total disregard for the exact form of special effects comes from my appreciation of animation. Like I know, like when it's like practical effects, I know it's fake. Like I still know that Puppet Yoda is fake, right? I can still appreciate the artistry, whether it's digital or practical. Like I don't need it to be practical. I find that really odd.
Yeah, the constant complaining about the special effects is like, CGI killed the prequels. It's like, shut the fuck up. That is not what killed the prequels. What killed the prequels was the piss poor story writing, the god awful dialogue, and the fact in the acting. Like, as much as I freaking love the actors, that was not their best performance. Okay, all of them except Natalie Portman. I have no idea I have absolutely no idea what she thinks of certain political topics that are very pertinent right now, and I have reason to believe that she may be holding the wrong opinions.
Padme's a bad character. Like realizing that is a huge sour point for the whole story for me. Like, she's quite a bad character. I don't mean a bad person. She's just a bad character.
Yeah,
Like Anakin is so much more the interesting person in their relationship.
I'm also
Agreed.
going to say this. It's official in my own head canon that Padme totally groomed Anakin Skywalker to be the mass murdering killer that he is.
I think that's a little unfair.
No, it's my own head canon because I found some funny YouTube poops on the internet of some guy taking Natalie Portman from other movies and stitching it into Star Wars, and the results were. I'll show you guys later. It's funny.
We don't have to have this conversation now. This is very far afield.
True.
Yeah, that's why I said we'll talk about this later.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I definitely will agree with you that a lot of the what's their bucket? Special effects complaints don't really hold that much water. For sure.
They're the ones that there are things that like I don't want. We don't have to have this conversation right now. You know,
true.
I'm not trying to say that in a bad way. I just don't want to derail this.
Yeah,
makes sense. So any other points? This scene is a bit of a Rorschach test, I would say, where it's Ironrod and Laris, where you could technically read it as in a couple of ways. One is that Laris Strong is incompetent, where he's just saying, just keep it to yourself. Alternatively, it could be he is deliberately trying to keep the information away from Aemond.
I've got a better idea. He hears this, thinks, okay, this is incredibly far-fetched and not really worth sharing, because he's like, how did you get a hold of this information? It's like, well, I heard this from a friend, who heard this from a friend, who heard it from his teacher, who heard it from his buddy. Like, this is just the chain of narration is just sort of it's a little sketchy. So it's like, okay, it's funny. It's like, okay, buddy, just go away. You know, this is a really, really strange rumor because it's extremely far fetched and implausible. This is just. Yeah, this is one of those things you just sort of sweep aside or let get lost to the wind, because what the fuck are you supposed to do with that information? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really track to him.
I concur with that one, yeah.
I'm sorry, what are we talking about? I had to step out. Are we still on Star Wars? Or have we gone back to the show?
No, we've gone back to the show. We're talking about the Ironrod and Laris scene.
Oh, okay. As in, what are they on about with that? And apparently, Laris just wants to let it go. I guess the theory is you're probably talking about that it's because he wants Aemond to fall. But then he's still the dragons are gonna have a go at him too, probably. So.
Yeah, there's two options. Either he is deliberately obscuring information, or he doesn't believe in the information. Those are the two options.
Yeah, and there's also been the question all along, how is it that, what's her name? Alinda Massey, is that the name? Is able to waltz around King's Landing and like nobody. I mean, it's me defended though because the gold cloaks being still in favor of Daemon. But I also wonder why Aemond isn't trying to ensure that his allies, if he has any allies, are in positions of power and authority and all that. And Laris is still carrying on, even though he's working against Aemond. So I wonder what's up with. I do wonder what's up with that. It's not exactly a criticism yet, but it is a question.
Hmm.
I would concur with that. So let me see. So, what are some other significant moments in this? You got a scene where Corlys and his illegitimate son, Alan of Hull, or Adam of Hull, are talking, and kind of he's proud of his boy, which is kind of cool. He's kind of a self-made man now to a certain extent, and that's cool to Corlys because that's him as well. Since he had to very much make his way, like his house was very much a backwater house, like third tier house, until he became like the richest man in all of Westeros.
Is that fair to say, though?
Well,
I mean, that's not really accurate. That's not quite accurate to the lore.
Yeah, I was a little annoyed because someone on the podcast was saying that Corlys was a self-made man, and I'm like, yeah, he did make a lot of money, but he's not really self-made. He belonged to this fairly ancient, wealthy family already. He just got a lot richer.
Yeah, more than that, like the Valerians are like, like deeply tied to the Targaryens. Like I'm pretty sure Aegon's mom was a Valerian, right?
yes.
Cherys' mom was a Valerian, I'm pretty sure. So like, he's not like he doesn't come from some no-name family.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
but I think we can all agree Corlys is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, he's a good character.
He's a good character. He's underused, and he's a terrible father, but he's a cool character.
Quite coincidentally, one of the best characters in the show is also the one with the least amount of screen time. Make of that what you will.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the Valerians in general don't get to do an awful lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we're like talking about characters in terms of not being stupid and being likable, yeah, he's definitely up over there. But like just character writing in general, I think. I don't know. So far, Damon's arc, I guess you could say, has been pretty good. It's been fairly solid.
Yeah, it's been slow, but it's been good.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're definitely doing quite a bit with him. It's just that. Oh, later's Codex.
All right, see you, buddy.
Have a riot.
Don't literally start a riot. That would be bad.
Man, I wish I could comment more on this, but I'm drawing a lot of blanks with this show. This is not a good sign when I've watched something and can't remember anything. Like I saw this last week, and still I'm having trouble remembering stuff.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot that happens.
Like this stream we could have just opened the stream and said, yeah, it's slow, it drags on, it's not very good, and we could have just left it at that.
Yeah, with kind of the main event being the two big events are Harrenhal. Finally, this Harrenhal subplot ending with the Riverlords, Daemon executing Willem Blackwood because Willem Blackwood was incompetent in terms of his skullduggery.
Well, it wasn't incompetent. It was that he was a piece of shit jackass.
That too. Well, it's just he didn't.
He flew his flag, and everybody saw that the queen basically sanctioned a genocide or massacre.
Yeah.
And Oscar was left cleaning up after as a mess,
Yep.
which he did a good job of.
Yeah, he did.
Let's
I
be real.
definitely agree with that.
Oscar's the real goat over here.
Yeah. Oscar is the man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So filling in those shoes quite well and pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would agree with that because Oscar seems like he's a cool, chill guy, and it's just funny that he's the Tullys in this era are named after Muppets. Not even joking.
We know you're not even joking. Bro, his name is freaking Oscar, for fuck's sake.
And then his dad is named Elmo.
Yeah, it's like you're not subtle, George. You're not
And then
funny.
and then his grandpa is named Elmo.
All right,
Or is it
where's
dead?
Big Bird? Stop dancing around it, George. Just give us a Tully named Big Bird.
Give us the friggin' Big Bird, you coward!
And he's called Big Bird because he gives people a big bird. No one? No one's getting that?
Oh yeah, don't worry.
All right.
Yeah. Any other thoughts to bring up about this episode? Since I don't really have that many, there's not a whole lot that happens. The only other significant thing that happens is Viserys in the old man makeup talks to Daemon and talks about how the crown is not a good thing, is not a blessing to have.
He straight up says it's a curse. Here, it crushes. Its weight crushes everyone that it rests upon. Here, you've always wanted to have it. Do you want to have it? He's like just offering the crown to him, and Daemon's like, "Oh. Great story beat, by the way. Like like he keeps saying, the Harrenhal bit with Daemon and his character arc that they're trying to go for over here. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like the character arc too. I just think it's a little bit too long.
Yeah, the actual arc is good so far. We'll see what happens next episode. The actual arc is good. It's just if they just moved what happens in season 6, episode 6, to episode 5. I think that's all you need to do, really. Just move some of this. Just get rid of some of the stuff in episode 5, and I think it would be fine.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, the author the author forgot to put his dick back in his pants for one of those sequences, but we can all just we can all just go. We can
That was the
do what
showrunner,
Hollywood.
That was the showrunner, not George. George never made that. I
we'll
will
just-
defend
we'll
George
do-
to a certain extent. there.
Yeah.
Okay, I said the writer of the scene forgot to put his dick back in his pants, but we'll just go ahead and do what Hollywood did with Harvey Weinstein and just pretend it didn't happen.
I actually think it might have been a woman who wrote that episode.
Well, we don't want to be crude here, so we won't say what I'm thinking.
Anyway,
Let's see. So it was 5, right? 5. Let's see. The director was Claire Kellner.
With the writer,
IMDb. Let's see. So House of the Dragon, season 2, episode 5. It's currently loading. I'm just pulling it up on IMDb really quick. What's it doing that? Let's see. House of the Dragon, Regent. Okay, so the writers were Ty Mickle. T.I. Mickle. So, it was a she who wrote that episode.
oh, great! Because now we got a whole nother set of jokes we can make about that scene.
he must be having a riot.
Probably.
Yeah. Very interesting choice in character. It's like most women, they would not be into the abusive man who murders his wife and marries a whore. But I'm not. I can't tell what goes on in the mind of any of your average person.
Yeah, maybe a lot of people think that's hey.
And there's a reason why the bad boy trope exists in the first place.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, true. Unfortunately, true.
See, if my younger brother was in this chat right now, he would just simply say aloud, "Certified woman moment."
Okay, that's hilarious. Okay, that's just hilarious.
Wait, what's hilarious?
But the quote that you just said.
Oh. So what you were talking about was on screen for a second over there.
No. This part is more impressive, like Tom Glenn Carney's performance as Aegon, because he actually did research into what people who are in pain will do, and it really shows in his performance that he appears to be a man in horrible agony.
Yeah, they even like have this thing holding his left side of his neck so they can't turn left because it's being so horribly burnt. He can't turn to the left. So they actually included something in his neck to keep him from moving.
Yeah. No, seriously, there's not a single bad actor in the show so far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. All the acting is pretty top notch. Whatever have to do. They do it. They do whatever they do. They do well.
Mm-hmm. The outer shell of this show is really, really impressive. Very good job, you know? It's just that sometimes the inner bits, they could use some work.
Yeah.
Which is very, very frustrating, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't think
So
of
where are we now?
anything. I think the only... We've already commented on Reyna running off to go find the dragon. Alicent going off to the Kingswood.
Oh, that was very pretty.
It was very scenic, yes. But it was kind of just pointless, really.
Yeah. I completely forgot that plot beat was in there. Like, but why? Show, why? Why is she going out over here?
Yeah, I guess the idea is now that she is devoid of power, she must go off by herself and ponder her destiny and role and all that. So I guess that was the idea, except that of course we don't have any dialogue.
I mean, I think that was pretty heavily implied though from what she was saying.
Yeah. So that's what that was about. But it's still, some of that could have been given to more plot relevant points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess
Also, the question is, what do they plan to do with her?
very good question indeed. We may find out something next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll very much depend on a lot of factors.
Yep. Because I'm not exactly opposed to anything Alicent related. However, please let it go somewhere, show. Don't waste our time.
Yeah, I mean, we would hope that the final episode we get some payoff. We have had payoff for Daemon, to be fair. We did get a little bit of payoff there.
Yep, he finally got an army.
Yeah.
He finally got an army.
Fanfare.
And there was much rejoicing and eating of grapes.
Yeah. Like, the thing that upsets me about this show is that it's the biggest reason why I'm upset by this show constantly dragging. Pun not intended. The reason why I feel like this show's is dragging on so much is because there's a freaking war going on. Like, they're at war with each other. It's like, why?
I brought this up before, and this isn't really was like what's covered in this show. This season is about 6 sentences in the book.
Yeah,
roughly 6 sentences. I can't. I'm not really exaggerating for comedic effect here. Like, there's a little silly. There's a little gratuitous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would concur. This is a little bit long and is very, very extended for very little purpose.
And to what end? To show that, like, Rhaenyra and Alicent are not, like, psychotic monsters who want to kill everybody, but, like, it just makes them look stupid.
They kind of are psychotic monsters, though, in a lot of ways, is the problem.
You know I don't like Rhaenyra, but, like, this is silly. This is a silly way to show the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? You could prosecute, if you want to, you could have characters act, competently and not evilly. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, like for Christ's sakes, I mean, are we that taken with like this is like reverse buying into Tywin's bullshit?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Even though I like Tywin, I think he's a good character. He's still an awful human being who is a
Oh, yeah,
terrible dad.
That one's great. That one's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean you can have a good character who's a horrible person.
Of course. That's exactly what Tywin is.
Yep. I mean, freaking Tywin Lannister was an absolute beast, and he was a absolute giga Chad in Game of Thrones. Am I going to say that he was a good person though? Probably not.
Nah, he was pretty evil.
Yeah, but he was entertaining, and he had some pretty banger pieces of dialogue. So, it's like I don't care that he's evil. I want to see him on screen more.
Yeah. Yeah. So with Rhaenyra being a psychopath and all that, we're back to the dragon seeds, aren't we?
Yeah. She does put out the application on the Westeros LinkedIn to say, "Hey, Eddie." Which
it's the streets.
That's a little bit dumb.
That was so stupid. That whole sequence was just fucking stupid. It's like you have this person running around plastering posters everywhere. It's like Rhaenyra is looking for dragon riders. Do you want to become a dragon rider for the queen? All underneath Aemon's nose? Somehow nobody in the Kingsguard or any of the Gold Cloaks saw this and thought, oh, we should probably tell Aemond about this.
I don't know. I'm not sure if Aemond has read the Villain's Handbook.
Yeah.
But I also, one other little thing, I mean, this is a small thing, but I think in the book, it's implied that most of these people are coming from Dragonstone, and you'd expect at least some from Dragonstone, because the whole point has been that the Targaryens have been on Dragonstone for so long, they've had all these bastards because of the right of first night and all that rot. Mm-hmm. But apparently they're all from King's Landing. I will say, though, that Hugh the Hammer and Ulf are much more interesting and engaging than they are in the book, which is not saying very much, admittedly.
Yeah, this one is one of those examples of major improvement just by virtue of small changes.
Yeah, just there being anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White are not characterized as anything other than a drunkard and a moron.
Also violent assholes, right?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah.
I mean, there's a place. Like I will argue for there being a place for someone like Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White in the story, right? Like Aemon being a violent idiot is terrible because it ruins any menace he has as a character, right? Hugh and Ulf function in this interesting space where they're low people being evil, right? It's too easy to lest we be communists. It's easy to think that the thing that's a problem here is that the noble people are evil. Like creating an aristocracy makes people evil. It's like no, evil can come from anywhere. Right? This is what Hugh and Ulf kind of represent. I know they're doing with Hugh. I can accept what they're doing with Hugh because it's okay to to take two characters who are kind of the same and actually differentiate them.
Yeah, I like that actually.
Yeah, no, I do because the thing is, you can have Ulf just be the bad one because he can keep his drunken nice guy shtick, but it's different when he's feeding women who doesn't like having sex with to his dragon, right? That's where you can get that.
Yeah, and I'm imagining with Hugh, I don't know how spoiler we're going to get here, but some of his later choices might be motivated partly by the whole class thing, because he's much more than Ulf. He's aware of the whole class distinction and all that. So he's much more aware of that, I think, than Ulf is. Not sure Ulf is very much aware of anything.
Yeah.
Which is fun, but yes.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to seeing how they make their decisions later on in the story, and if their decisions are the grounds for their decisions are differentiated. I'm hoping that they're working towards having them act on different motives based on their backstories and their character.
Yeah, and this is one of those things I'm going to go and just praise the show for really quickly. Oh, hey, look! These random side characters we were following, they actually have relevance. You're going somewhere with them.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm very happy. Please do this some more.
Yes.
The big payoff with these two characters is, why are we following these two random guys? It's like, well, because they're going to become dragon riders. Oh.
Yep, and they play a fairly important role later on in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're being set up.
Yeah. Which is good. We want more setup. And we also want the payoff, preferably in the same season.
Yeah, well, some things may get made. Some things we may have to wait for next season.
You know, like the actual war that was started at the beginning of this one.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But you definitely see where I'm coming from with this because I'm going to keep harping about this one. The show promised us at the very beginning, oh shit, freaking shots fired. One of Rhaenyra's kids was just murked by freaking Aemond on the other side, on the other team. This is all going to spiral out of control extremely quickly. Heads are going to roll. People are going to die. There was just an assassination attempt on the queen. Oh my god, this is how much crazier can this possibly get? And then nothing happens for 3 episodes.
You're not wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You do have a point. You do have a point.
You be constantly escalating and building up the suspense, and then you have, bam! We have the Chekhov's gun was fired, and then nothing happened. It was just. I would not fault the audience if they forgot that Lucas died at the beginning of this of the season. I would not fault them for remembering. Oh yeah, that's right. That's why they were.
Rhaenyra had a whole other kid. That's right.
A freaking dragon and his rider was killed. Oh, and there was also a battle where the queen who never was killed with her dragon, and the dragon was decapitated and wheeled into King's Landing.
And the king was mortally injured too.
Yeah. And what's been going on since? Well, Kristen Cole is sitting over there twiddling his thumbs now, and Aemond is sitting over there getting high off of his own power.
Kristen
because
Cole
he's now
is
the Prince
nervous.
Regent. Yep.
Oh, they did have that one scene with Kristen Cole and that guy. Was it Kristen Cole? Was Kristen Cole there with that Lannister guy, or was he not? I don't remember anymore.
No, that was some unimportant nobleman, the Lord of the Golden Tooth, as I recall.
Yeah, there was. I guess that happened. We're supposed to understand that he is leading an army, and that eventually there will be a battle involving that. I don't remember exactly what Kristen Cole does in the rest of the story.
They have also, well, we are definitely. I think next season's gonna have fish feed.
Oh, that'll be like a big centerpiece, early centerpiece.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that. We'll probably get the Gullet, because they set that up this episode. And hopefully we'll also get Gump Gump Gump. That when Rhaenyra does that.
What? What?
Spoiler! King's Landing.
Oh, that. Yeah, okay.
I mean, bro, we already know that. Like, I already know that. That was spoiled for me a long time ago.
Bother.
And also, I don't really care because I don't care for spoilers because it's like, oh, okay, so how does that happen? What do they do to get there?
Fair enough. I mean, that's sort of my approach too. But there are people who are like, when you spoil stuff. So just want to be on the safe side.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why it's called a spoiler.
Yeah,
Ruins things. Ruins it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It ruins it, precious.
Whereas if you've already read the books, you know what's meant to happen anyway. The only spoilers can be, will they totally change? The only way we can be spoiled is if they totally change the denouement.
Yeah. I mean, their book spoilers and show spoilers are very different things.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to, because this is based off of a book, you can't pick up the book and read it right now instead of watching the show. So it's, I kind of, when it comes to stuff like that, I kind of feel like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, fair enough.
Particularly for something that's like 10 years old or something.
Yeah, when was this thing published? Probably 10 years ago.
It's like,
it's actually about 6, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see, 6 years ago still. Yeah. Still, it was a while.
It has not been that long since it was published, all things considered.
Yeah, but still, in terms of being spoiled, yeah. In terms of spoiling, 6 years is still a fairly long time.
okay, I'm going to do that ever again.
Any other thoughts? I don't really have much else to say about. Yeah, it's nothing much happened in episode 7. I think we're honestly going to have a much more interesting, shall we say, discussion about episode 7 because some things go down.
Yeah, things do happen. Some things do actually happen in episode 8. Well,
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, to be fair, the Dragon Seeds was a thing, and it did happen.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but hey, gonna find out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting, you know. Oh, what did he do in episode 8 to sort of redeem the slowness of the rest of the show so far?
Yeah, what will the payoff? Will we be getting some payoffs?
Mm-hmm. We shall see.
We shall see. Hopefully, at least in terms of some of these character things, there'll be some. At the very least, there's something. I know some things are going to happen with Daemon.
Yep.
Also, I know that some things are going to happen with Alicent. But hopefully those won't be the only characters that things happen to. Hopefully, the things that happen to them will be good things.
Good in terms of storytelling, of course. We don't necessarily care about good for their sake.
Yeah, I mean, who cares about them?
Yeah, they're not real people.
Not even good fake people either. They're terrible fake people.
No, they are. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, I mean, I guess none of them is exactly St. Francis of Assisi or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would concur with that. Alrighty, well, I think we will call it good for the only other thing of note that happens is that good old Ulf the White picks up Silverwing. Queen Alisane's dragon. While and it's kind of interesting. There's heavy implication that Hugh Hammer is the son of Sarah Targaryen, Jaehaerys's harlot daughter. While
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
Well, to put your final point on it.
While Ulf the White is the son of his, I guess you could say, kind of second most accomplished son, Balon the Brave. Even though the funny thing about Balon is that he doesn't really have that many good achievements to his name, other than driving the Mirish invaders off of Tarth. That's kind of his only claim to fame, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of Jaehaerys' children are that interesting, to tell the truth.
Yeah. Jaehaerys isn't that interesting.
Yeah, sadly.
So go on.
And wait a second, Jaehaerys, isn't that the guy who died at the beginning of the show without any heirs?
Yep.
Yeah.
So all your fault. This is all your fault, Jaehaerys. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's definitely his fault for being a great character. Holy crap.
Die, Jaehaerys, die.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already dead. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, die, dead guy, die.
Yeah, Jaehaerys is very much he's a good politician, but he's a terrible dad, and he did not think very carefully about how is this succession going to work.
Yeah.
Look after me.
God damn it. It's like you're either a good dad or you're a good politician. There is no in-between in this show.
Never any in between.
Yeah, kind of.
But there is such thing as being bad at both.
True.
Yeah,
Worst
like
of
Robert
both.
Baratheon.
Yikes.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I love Bobby B, but he was a bad dad and a bad king.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got done in by a fucking boar.
Done in.
Yes.
Oh, God, no, kill it. Please don't.
I don't care anymore. I have lost. I am completely numb to the done jokes. I am so done with them.
Oh, God, no. Kill it.
Don't worry, you guys. By done does not exist. He can't hurt you.
Thank God. So
I love I love how that joke works on two levels.
Indeed, he has joined me in the making of bad done jokes. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
company,
Jover. He's by done.
one's company, zero's company, one's a crowd. Two are simply not allowed.
I don't know that I can withstand. I don't know that I can withstand this.
It's okay. I will spare you any additional horrors.
So yeah, Ulf takes the dragon and he has a joyride over King's Landing and it's whooping. You gotta like Ulf.
Yeah, he's a he's a goofy, lovable moron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, isn't Ulf supposed to end up becoming a horrible, evil person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is he going to be what kind of horrible, evil person is he going to be? Is he going to be the fun kind, or is he going to be the horrible kind?
Well, he's gonna be like the degenerate kind. So that means he's gonna like seem fun until he becomes scary.
I mean, it depends on your point of view. It'll be fun from his point of view. It'll be fun.
Let's see.
He's definitely the one in the book that has like a lot less characterization between the two of them.
I don't even remember, to be honest. I can't distinguish between the two of them, apart from their names in the books. I don't even remember.
The short end is that one is violent and one is drunk.
Okay, maybe Hugh the Hammer must be the violent one, and Ulf the drunk one then.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, they're both evil, and they're both traitors, and I don't like them. Whoops, that was kind of a spoiler, but anyway.
I mean, technically, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, pretty much, yeah. But yeah. So, and then there's a scene with, and then, and then Aemond does that thing where he hops on a horse and runs outside to get to Vhagar, which raises the question, isn't he kind of vulnerable in King's Landing where Larys doesn't like him and where the Blacks can come in with impunity and do things? Why does he not have any allies or any? Anyway, he hops on his horse and goes after Vhagar, and he chases after the dragons, and he runs back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since that whole thing is, they do kind of set that up in season 1 where it's just Vhagar is just too massive for the dragon pit, but that still begs the question of why is she so far outside the city?
We did get that cool horse scene out of it.
This is true.
Indeed. Then he tries flying toward Dragonstone, and then he's like, yeah, it's a little bit close. I'm not too much of a fan of this. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I think I'll do something else. Maybe I'll chop someone's head off in King's Landing.
So how are we feeling about Rhaenyra as she's portrayed?
The show doesn't know that they made her a horrible monster.
Yeah, well, yeah, neither did George, to be fair.
Like, the show does not know what Rhaenyra is. That is my honest opinion about it.
Again, I don't think George did either.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, George is kind of a mute point right now, because we are not talking about George. However, I do also understand what you're trying to get at. Yeah, it isn't exactly the show's fault that it doesn't realize that Rhaenyra is a terrible person, because the source material also didn't realize she was a terrible person, but...
Yeah. No, there's still no excuses.
Yeah, exactly.
I think to a certain extent, the source material does portray out Rhaenyra as a bad person, but the problem is the narrative portrays her as at least a little bit tragic.
Which, arguably,
it portrays her as like the wrong party, which is just, of course.
well, there's also the fact that Rhaenyra isn't exactly a character in a sense of having a developed arc in the book. She's a number of discrete points that aren't, and you have to kind of connect the dots yourself, because the narrative doesn't exactly connect the dots for you. So there's one scene where there'll be one scene where she'll be relatively sympathetic, and she'll be like, "I'll spare your life because blah blah blah." Then another scene where another scene where she's ordering hits on people for dubious reasons, let's say. I don't want to spoil too much, but That doesn't really matter though, because the character she has or is a hit on probably doesn't even exist in the show. So
Yeah.
so it's even in the books, you're not sure what to think of her. And in the show, they seem generally to view her as a good person. But on the other hand, they did say we're meant to wonder about her in the Dragon Seed scene. We're meant to be concerned about her in the Dragon Seeds scene. So we'll see where that goes. Are they setting up Mad Rhaenyra, Mad Queen Rhaenyra? I'd be of two minds because on the one hand, at least they would be set up, whereas Dany wasn't really set up. But on the other, what kind of message are they sending where all the Targaryen queens turn evil?
Yeah, it's kind of that idea.
To be fair, it's not like any of the Targaryen kings are any better.
There's a couple of good Targaryen kings, like Jaehaerys. He's okay at least. He isn't a slovenly asshole like Aegon the Fourth, or a violent warmonger like Maegor the Cruel.
Yeah, he did a lot of good as king. He did as king. He was pretty good.
I mean, the strange thing about it is that like Rhaenyra isn't really a Daenerys parallel; she's a Cersei parallel.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
That's just she's set up.
But the reason why I think everybody thinks of Daenerys and why even I sometimes confuse her with Daenerys is because, Daenerys was just such an iconic character.
Oh no! The show wants you to think Daenerys. Absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, after the way season 8 ended, you really don't want me thinking of her.
Yeah, and this has been a point that Red Team Review has made a number of times. Please, showrunners, don't emphasize the connections with Game of Thrones, the show, because it ended really badly. So you can show connections with the Song of Ice and Fire and things that were in both a Game of Thrones and a Song of Ice and Fire, but when it's specific, show things like the dagger's in the books, but it serves mainly to injure Bran and Catelyn and to serve to frame Tyrion. That's the main function in the book. But anything having to do with the dagger being associated with killing the White Walkers and all that, that's show only. We don't really want that, because then we think of Arya killing the Night King and we're like, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just creates problems that the showrunners do not want people to think about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a little bit frustrating that they keep doing this, and they really should not be. It's very annoying that they keep doing the endless stupid callbacks.
Yeah, to associate linking it with Game of Thrones, the show, specifically.
Yeah, again, that probably not the best idea, all things considered.
No. Yeah. Yeah, because like hardly anybody liked the way the show ended.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only person that I can think of that did not hate the show was a guy called Yezin IRL, who has since migrated off of YouTube because he's a freaking coward and a loser, and has not made any YouTube content in years.
Yikes.
Yeah, I remember his main I remember that the main problem was that he was trying to make season 8, like the showrunners seemed smarter. Seemed like they were as smart as he was, and they are not. They're not as smart. They're not as smart as he is. I mean, I'm not saying he's smart, but they're not on that level. They're just not thinking on that level at all.
Yeah, since he even will come up with really stupid excuses for even the dumbest stuff, like the whole themes are for the 8th grade book reports quote, and said, "Did you know that they were drunk when they were saying that? That doesn't change anything. That actually makes it worse."
Problem.
Okay, they were drunk when there was. That explains it, though.
If I remember correctly, an ancient Greek philosopher once said that drunkenness does not give rise to vices; it reveals them.
Sounds about right. Oh, in vino in vino veritas again. And in wine there's truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Latin version of it. Yeah, and the fact that they said this when they were drunk is not. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
You know what? Actually, that could be a great interrogation technique. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, forget torture. Just say, "Hey."
It was actually a
Want
very
some beer?
amusing description of a particular strategy during the making of the Constitution. There was a guy, I can't remember his name, but he wanted things to sway a particular way during the making of the Constitution. So his strategy was gather all the malcontents, get them drunk, and wait for opportunities. Which has stuck with me as a very, very amusing quote for a very long time, because I just think it's very, very funny.
That must. Who knew that the making of the Constitution was such fun?
Yeah.
History is very, very fun. Most people don't give it enough credit, sadly.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, there was it's just mainly because Lenwood Thompson, a very, very cool history teacher, basically opened my eyes to how cool history was, by virtue of putting on a costume and then talking about the history, and you just made it so freaking cool.
Yeah, I've always loved history. Yeah, we did stuff too. Like we would do like medieval plays and things.
That's what my little bro will tell me. Male history teachers are always the best.
This one was a female, the one I had.
Well, I never said my younger brother was right about everything.
Fair enough.
If you're seeing this little bro somehow, first off, what the fuck are you doing over here? And second off, yeah, get used to me throwing you under the bus. Then again, you're already used to that, aren't you?
Good, fair point.
I'm about to throw you under the bus so faster than freaking Damon decide to execute that Blackwood guy.
Yeah. So, I think we covered the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly thoroughly at this point.
The only thing we didn't talk very much about was Jace, but we covered that too. About how he's worried because he is also a bastard, and if these guys can become bastards too, then what happens to his claim to the throne?
Oh no, they don't become bastards. They became dragon riders. They were already. You don't become a bastard. You were born one.
Yeah. You're right. It was something weird happened.
If they're a dragon rider, then what am I?
Yeah. I'm a bastard. They're bastards. We're both bastards.
Oh, gee, you see the problematic implications about what happens when you subvert the norms of matrimony. Gee, it's almost like there's a problem subverting the way people normally do things.
Yeah. it's almost like tradition is like the collective wisdom of thousands of years of people who are no dumber than you are, people who you are no smarter than, and perhaps maybe, just maybe, you should listen to what they say. Take some advice from all the people who came before you and who already lived through life. Maybe they might be onto something.
Unfathomably based.
Yep, the ironic thing is that the rightful heir of Rhaenyra, assuming her to be queen, probably would be Aegon II.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he would just be the one who inherited after her. Maybe that's what they should have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it becomes a whole thing because it's interesting. He calls them mongrels, even though he also knows perfectly well that he's one too. So.
Yeah, but he has to have something. He has to have some level of legitimacy for the sake of his pride because, well, he has no legitimacy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing where you're a group that's considered down, so you're going to put other people who are the same group or a similar group even further down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he's going to put these other bastards down because he belongs to the bastard category. So in order to for the sake of his pride, but also for the sake of his claim, he has to put these other ones down, precisely because his claim is not all that much better than theirs.
Yeah, he is literally on equal standing to them now. No, actually worse. They have a much higher standing than him now because they've got the better dragons.
Yeah, his dragon is not very old.
Isn't that an interesting commentary on technocracy?
What was that?
Yeah.
Isn't that an interesting commentary on technocracy?
Yeah.
The people, like, you'll see people talk about this occasionally, where like it's okay that the Targaryens are tyrannizing the continent with their dragons because like the dragons are necessary to fight the White Walkers and shit like that. It's like the dragons in that context represent like a technocratic solution to the problems. We should be learning day by day how technocratic societies don't really work all that well.
Yeah.
No, don't we already live in a technocracy at this point?
Oh, we do. But the whole point is that
we've been living in one for a while, and I'm going to tell you right now, it sucks.
Yeah, I know that.
What was that? Do you have a particular political opinion that doesn't agree with mine? Well, guess what? I just wanted to own the political platform that you posted it on. So, ban?
You must be wrong because the science says so.
And by the science, I mean this poorly constructed study over here that was not really peer-reviewed at all. Please ignore this one over here that has been peer-reviewed and recreated several times and disagrees with me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, any other thoughts before we conclude?
No. Hopefully episode 8 is actually good. And this episode 8 is not the season 8 of season 2.
Yeah.
This is not a mind bender.
Well, don't you mean episode 9 of season 8, season 10?
What are you talking about?
Or
season
episode 9
2.
of season 1? Sorry, episode 9 of season 1. Since episode 9 of season 1 was pretty bad, or had a really bad ending.
I don't remember that at all.
Rhaenys coming out of the floor.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, that was fucking awful. I was like, oh shit, what is she going to do? She could practically just kill the entirety of the royal family. She flies away. What? Why? Why did you? What?
Nobody remembers that. That was like 2 years ago. No one remembers that.
No one cares. No one cares anymore.
God, I love idiot plots. I love idiot plots so much.
No one remembers the guard either. We've all that stuff. We forgot all about that.
Which guard?
The one that got killed so that Laenor could escape and live his best life in Essos.
Good for him.
Oh yeah,
Good for Laenor.
yeah. Man, I fucking hate rich people.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
We'll just leave it over there.
That's
That's
it. That was the whole joke. Yeah.
there's no punchline.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, we will call it good for today on that one. Adios, my friends.
All right. See you
All the best.
after. See you in a week.
Have a riot.
Enough. Kill me. Just end it.
No.